Hey, it's Alex Burns, Artistic Director here at Quintessence Theater, and we've reached the final week of performances of Rare Accidents, which is Quintessence's adaptation of Shakespeare's play Henry IV Parts 1 and 2. It's truly some of Quintessence's finest works, one of my absolute favorite productions, and it's starring Tyler Bay as Prince Hal and Scott Greer as Sir John Falstaff. I love these history plays. They're some of my favorite works. They're unlike all of Shakespeare's tragedies and his comedies. It's its own genre, and it really is so similar or like so many of the incredible episodic television series we adore today. And one of the things that's really surprised me is how many people have said like, oh, I don't really know if I can make it through a 3-hour production of Shakespeare. Meanwhile, they sit through hours and hours of television. The recent Oppenheimer was 3 hours. The Super Bowl was longer than that. Going to most sporting events takes more than 3 hours. And I find it interesting that for theater, somehow we're not interested in those longer epic tales. And the irony to me is there's no better place for this type of storytelling than theater. The language, the structure, it moves so fast. And I find that anyone who actually comes and experiences it is stunned that each of the pieces of the play go by so quickly. And it's 3 separate parts with 3 very different structures and energies and narrative storylines. The first is about the usurpation of the British throne by Bolingbroke, who then becomes Henry IV, and the struggles with his son, Prince Hal. Part 2 is then the Civil War, when the rebels step up and try and take over the kingdom, and the battle between Hal and Hotspur. And then part 3 is the succession, as the throne and the crown passes on to the next generation. The first act is an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15. The second act is 45. The third act is 50 minutes. So it's fast and furious, and it's such a great way to experience theater. You can have a pint in between each of the acts, and the play and the drama just continues to build and build. And the other thing that I find interesting is just this kind of resentment that people seem to have with the duration of a play. And what's great about a play is if the first act fulfills you, then you can go. If the second act and the first act is enough for you, then you can take off. But if you stay through the whole work, through an epic piece of drama, we really get to tell you a massive tale that watches a character go from being, in this particular play, a very young, uncertain man with a lot of opinions. We get to watch all of those things get challenged and explored, and then in the end, he becomes the great King of England. And how does he get there, and what happens? And you can't tell those kind of stories any faster than that. So I hope if you haven't seen it yet, you still have this week to come out and check out the extraordinary Rare Accidents. And again, these history plays are some of my favorite works. And it's so strange to me that we, as Americans who love epic drama and heroes and villains and these kind of narratives, and will sit through, a Lord of the Rings that is 3.5 hours, get scared when it comes to theater. So please take a risk. Come see this insanely talented ensemble of 9 actors playing almost 100 characters and taking on this great story of the rise of King Henry V. Hope to see you at the Cedric this weekend.